Nobody wins when the family feels.
I just know they name FBG. They said that somebody pissed on at the grave side.
Yeah, me.
That was you.
Well, you filmed that video in front of the grave, and then I seen the grave was blurred out.
Him and all the set.
And so you don't feel like that's taking a little too far, going to the grave site?
Nah, when it's deep, it can only get deeper.
I think the sister, she was on there saying like, y'all come back here, come do it again.
But look, this the crazy thing though. Look, my brother, Kuzma, he in jail right now. He had already pissed on her. She went up there after he pissed. That was the second time.
Yeah, but that shit was back to back, so I ain't even noticed. We caught his dumb ass out of bounds. What the fuck is he doing? We done caught us a nigga.
Teenage boys for the murder of a 15-year-old girl during the weekend.
Looking for suspects after a 2-year-old was killed in a drive-by shooting near Fair Park.
Surveillance video obtained by WFAA showed the moment 6 people were shot in Pleasant Grove. The victims were standing outside of a store, one man even relaxing on the ground when bullets started flying.
Take a look at your screens now. We are getting new video of the terrifying moments after a shooting at the State Fair of Texas on Saturday. This footage shows at least one officer here with his gun drawn, and you can see the people there ducking, running for cover.
I gotta be stronger for my family. So
it's hard to be strong.
I can't really show emotions or nothing like that.
After a loved one's death.
Because I gotta be strong for my family.
Jamesia Newhouse told me about her brother, Carriante Green.
I feel like my soul gone.
The 18-year-old Dallas teen was at a block party Saturday night at this East Dallas rec center when he was shot and killed. Police have made no arrests.
We want justice, and we demand justice.
Patricia Winfield is his great aunt.
Just turned 18 January 2nd. Just turned 18. Just started living. For somebody to come up and snuff him away.
Believe it or not, fam, the first quarter of 2025 is officially over, and I would like to start the video off like Believe it or not, fam, the first quarter of 2025 is officially over, and I would like to start the video off like this. For the family members who putting in that work, staying true to their goals to get to where they want to be at in life, I'm proud of you. And for those who out here not getting nothing done, BSing, not being productive, tighten up. We banking on you. None of us is bigger than the next person. Now I say all this to say this. Recently, an up-and-coming Dallas rapper has went viral while incarcerated. While already incarcerated for a murder, this young man had decided to tattoo his opposition's deceased mom on his hand in jail and post a picture on the first week of April in 2025. And after doing my research to bring this to you guys' attention, it seemed we covered this young man a little over a year ago, which we'll later briefly discuss in this video. But let's just say, this is not the first time this young rapper had decided to disrespect his opposition's deceased mom. It seems it's a real war that's going on in Dallas. High school students forming gangs that now turn deadly and leaving clues on rap beats. But it seemed his oppositions wasn't friendly either. We'll later talk about how his friend Grave was pissed on, leaving his sister to go live on Facebook to make a message, which we'll later check out. In chronological order, we go over the lives that were stolen by this war. An innocent baby at a candlelight visual, a mother who was shot up while inside her home, a young woman losing her life in her own apartment, grave sites being pissed on, to why we bring this up today at the end of the first quarter in 2025. A young rapper who's incarcerated decided to get his opposition's deceased mom tattooed on his hand. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. Born March 30th, 2005 in South Dallas was Muhammad Anderson, also known by his rap stage name, J3 Get Busy. He raps GBG, also known as Get Back Gang, and he's also affiliated with FBG, Free Bird Gang. This alleged gang is primarily in South Dallas, with most of their members being from the Pleasant Grove community. Even at 14 years old, was charged with murder as a juvenile. He was one of 3 teenage boys who was accused of murdering and shooting a 15-year-old in her own apartment. The incident took place on a weekend on the 2300 block of Driftwood Drive, just before 10:30 p.m. When the officers were called to the scene, they found a 15-year-old girl who had been shot. She was taken to a local hospital where she later pronounced deceased on the scene. She was identified as Ariel Charles. She was a 10th grader in Lancaster High School. May she rest in peace and love and condolences to her family.
Teenage boys for the murder of a 15-year-old girl during the weekend. Fox 4's Natalie Solis has the latest in this investigation.
15-year-old Ariel Charles, a 10th grader at Lancaster High School. Her family describes her as vibrant, a girl who loved to sing and dance at family gatherings. But her bright light suddenly extinguished Saturday evening at this Mesquite apartment complex on Driftwood Drive.
Officers immediately rendered first aid to the victim until paramedics arrived.
Despite life-saving efforts, Ariel was pronounced dead at the hospital. Relatives say she and 2 female teen relatives were at the apartment Ariel shared with her family, though her parents weren't home. 3 teen boys were invited over. How exactly the shooting played out, still under investigation, but police say they are certain they have their suspects, 2 15-year-old boys and a 14-year-old.
I can't get into the circumstances of what occurred. What I can say is that the suspects were known to the victim.
Police aren't saying who they believe pulled the trigger, but all 3 juveniles are charged with murder. 2 of the boys arrested a short time after the shooting, the 3rd arrested today.
So in situations like that, investigators have determined that at some point they all played a role in the offense. All 3 subjects did flee the location prior to officers' arrival.
Relatives say Ariel was looking forward to her Sweet 16 on July 4th. Now they're left to plan the funeral of the one they say loved to love on everyone else around her.
Ariel's family is still working out the details, but they say they do plan to honor her with a vigil next Friday, May 7th at 5:30 at a park in Mesquite. Back to you.
Now, while J3 was incarcerated, 2 of his close homies had passed away 3 months apart the following year. The incident happened at 7:30 p.m. back in April of 2021. The attack and shooting happened during a block party at a local park in South Dallas. The shooters and their cars were caught on tape, but even 4 years later, in 2025, no one has yet to be arrested. The victim was identified as 17-year-old Creonte Green, aka FBG Faats. Investigators found this was part of an ongoing feud on social media, which then led to gunfire.
Trackdown looks for the men who shot and killed a teenager in April. The attack and shooting happened during a block party at Juanita Craft Park in South Dallas. The shooters and their cars caught on tape, but not caught by police. Here's Fox 4's Sean Rabb. You can help with that in this week's Trackdown.
Detective Derek Cheney says Creonte Green was killed over social media beef. The 17-year-old's mother pleading for the streets to break their silence.
I know where we come from. Nobody want to be a snitch or nobody want to step up. But if it was your child, you would want somebody to step up, like crime, teenage crime on teenage crime. If nobody never step up, we won't never be able to help the kids, or we won't be able to get justice for everybody that's out here losing their kids.
Brittany Newhouse, now part of a sorrowful sorority, mothers of murdered sons. Her 17-year-old, Creonte Green, nicknamed Fat Daddy, killed April 17th.
That's our football star. That's my hero. That's my firstborn, my best friend. He everything.
My victim arrived at the party. He arrived in this direction from Limes. As he was walking through the park, the surveillance video was showed 2 vehicles parked. It's a white Dodge Charger. It is like a silver sedan, I would say Nissan, Honda. You see some individuals exit these cars, and as my victim was just walking, they approached him from behind, and shots was fired. My victim collapsed to the ground. These individuals ran back to their vehicles, and then they left the location. This is on feud dealing with social media, dealing with young people who is going back and forth, exchanging words, and these words are leading to the gunfire.
You haven't gotten any good information so far?
So I do have information. I have some persons of interest. But the thing is, I need some bodies behind the words. I need someone to confirm what I know and is willing to stand up and for me to use it in court.
If y'all say y'all mess with Fat Daddy the way that y'all do, if y'all know, y'all can remain anonymous. Y'all step up and say something like, I want justice for my baby. Like, who wouldn't want justice for their child to just walk up on a park and haven't been here 5 minutes and get gunned down and don't make it back home?
You can reach Detective Derek Cheney. Talk or text to his cell 214-283-4804 or email derek.cheney@dallascityhall.com. Time for the streets to talk about the murder.
Now, as mentioned, just 3 months later, another one of J3 homies had lost his life. John Hightower, aka John, was just 19 years old when he was one of 2 people who was shot shortly after 10:30 p.m. on a Sunday while attending a gathering on 4th of July in 2021. This incident took place on the 3000 block of Park Row Avenue. He passed away 2 days later on July 6. Now, Dallas police didn't make an arrest for Faats or John, but 3 years later, J3 opposition, Free Bird Gang opposition, a guy who go by the name of FBG Murder, who took his opposition's name, had went to John gravesite for a music video, February 8th, 2024, and decided to take a piss on the gravesite during the video.
Play with that money, boy. I put a lot of Chicago shit. So when I see your name, I'm like, FBG Murder. Everybody be thinking that you from FBG from Chicago.
Nah, we not from 63rd. Everybody be thinking that.
What I had seen that tripped me out though, cause like, I thought your clique was called FBG. That ain't even the name of your clique. Nah. That's the ops.
When you build shit, like when you build something, like when you build shit, like, man, that's your shit for real. Like, so I just made myself FBG. Like, I'm FBG. And I know, like, when you say FBG, I don't think of my ops, I think of FBG Murder.
That's the greatest disrespect ever, yeah.
We do a lot of Chicago shit. They be mad at the FBG. I don't know exactly who the ops are on your side or whatever. I just know they name FBG. They said that somebody pissed on at the grave side.
Yeah, me.
That was you.
Well, you filmed that video in front of the grave, and then I seen the grave was blurred out.
Him and all the set.
And so you don't feel like that's taking a little too far, going to the grave site?
Nah, when it's deep, it can only get deeper.
I think the sister, she was on there saying like, y'all come back here, come do it again.
But look, this the crazy thing though. Look, my brother, Kuz, he in jail right now. He had already pissed on him. She went up there after he pissed. Like, that was the second time.
Second time. Back to back piss on the dude.
Yeah, back to back.
He doing it.
Now, back in December of 2022, 6 people were shot in front of a shopping center at the Pleasant Grove area of Dallas. J3 had rapped about it. One of his ops was shot, yet still no one was arrested. But that carried over to 2023.
Major new clue tonight in the shooting of 6 people in Dallas's Pleasant Grove neighborhood. It happened Wednesday around 5 o'clock on Sain Road near St. Augustine Road. And tonight, Malini Basu shows us what new surveillance video reveals about the crime. And we do want to warn you going in here, this could be jarring for you to watch.
Surveillance video obtained by WFAA showed the moment 6 people were shot in Pleasant Grove. The victims were standing outside of a store, one man even relaxing on the ground when bullets started flying.
I was basically in my car ducking and dodging bullets.
Dodging bullets because Susie Taylor just closed up her beauty salon when the shooting unfolded in front of her.
It was somebody bleeding, crying for help, asking me to run him to the hospital.
In the video, you can see the victims ages 17 to 55 running, some falling to the ground.
It was scary. I was praying
that she would make it out alive and that no one else was hit in the shopping strip.
It's kids and women up here, and my biggest fear is like a woman or a child getting shot.
I spoke to some business owners off camera who tell me they were terrified. They didn't open up shop today. Dallas police sources tell me in the last 5 years, they've done several community events trying to get everyone together to help solve crime, but they tell us they can't fight this crime alone.
While the victims recover, Susie is hoping someone will come forward with any tips.
I mean, we can't do nothing but keep praying and keep trying, keep fighting.
In Dallas,
some would say this beef between OTS and FBG saw its peak in 2023. In February of 2023, OTS member, which stands for Only the Sacks, 223 Trey, had lost his mom to a drive-by shooting directed at their home, with over 60 shell casings left at the scene. The incident happened February 6, 2023, just before 1:49 a.m. on the 3000 block of Flutter Mill Drive in a Heartland community. 38-year-old Mika Simpson, she was struck by a bullet inside her home and lost her life instantly. May she rest in peace. A love of condolences to her family. And speaking of 223 Trey, 61 223 shell casings were recovered from the scene. Now, at the time, investigators was looking for any video surveillance by canvassing the Heartland area. The only update they gave at the time was they believe an unknown make model dark color 4-door sedan is the suspect vehicle. At the time, investigators also had pointed out back in May of 2021, police investigated a similar shooting at a residence on the 2000 block of Stagecoach Trail. There, at least 68 shell casings were recovered. No injuries were reported in the shooting, but investigators said at the time the shooting was targeted, a retaliation for a shooting in Dallas. Law enforcement enforcement say one of the residents at the home at the 2021 shooting is known by or an acquaintance to the residents where Mika lost her life almost 3 years later. During Mika balloon release, a 2-year-old girl was killed in a drive-by shooting as the oppositions of her son had shot it up. The incident happened at around 9:30 p.m. on the 4700 block of Hay Street, just north of Fair Park. When police arrived at the scene, they learned that a woman and a toddler were shot during the drive-by. Both victims were taken to a hospital where the toddler was pronounced deceased. Family identified the toddler as Zaya Lacey. May she rest in peace. Our love and condolences to her family.
Has a long road to recovery.
She is bedbound. She cannot get up. She is breathing on her own. She is alert when she's able to be. We are keeping her sedated as much as possible.
Today, outside her hospital room, Scott's mom and big sis sharing a glimpse of the 30-year-old's uphill battle.
I let her down, you know?
Sunday, Scott was off of Hay Street in Dallas at a balloon release for a woman killed earlier this year in a drive-by when someone started shooting. Police say the gunfire killed 2-year-old Zaya Lacey and hit Scott, who was sitting in her car.
It pierced her colon, went directly through her urethra, the tubing from the kidney to the bladder. That was bruised.
Scott's mom, Kimberly, says they're lucky it wasn't worse.
God just took that bullet and guided it right through so it wouldn't hit anything that was major. And so she'd be able to, because we could be planning a funeral right now instead of having an interview about a shooting.
The family now taking turns at her bedside and looking after Scott's 10-year-old son.
And when he walked in, she still had the tube in her throat. And he walked in, he first saw her, he just broke down.
This shooting just one of a string in the Fair Park area of Dallas over the past few days. Police haven't made any arrests yet.
The streets know who did this, who's responsible. They're not talking.
Scott's family joining the list of other victims' loved ones and calling for whoever's responsible to just turn themselves in.
You are destroying people's lives, one after the next, after the next, after the next. Are you gonna stop?
In Dallas, I'm Janova.
And there was war. And because of that, that started the Deadliest year in the beef between OTS and FBG. And just so we clear, look how close they are on the map. Now some say J3 started this, because before FBG Murder did his diss song in 2024, pissing on John Grave, J3 had called 223 Trey at his mom's grave site on Instagram while shooting a music video showing it to the world. Also that same year, a OTS member who went by the name of TG had died on July 6, 2023 at 4:05 p.m. He was just 20 years old. His real name was Tobias Robinson. He died a day after pissing on the op grave site, but he was allegedly backdoored by his own homies. 2 OTS members was later arrested. That same year, on October 14, 2023, an OTS member named Cameron Turner had shot 3 people at a Texas state fair. Apparently his opposition came in a group to try to approach him, and before becoming a victim, he became a suspect.
Take a look at your screens now. We are getting new video of the terrifying moments after a shooting at the State Fair of Texas on Saturday. This footage shows at least one officer here with his gun drawn, and you can see the people there ducking, running for cover. Documents obtained by NBC5 show the suspect claimed that he was defending his family. Our Candace Sweat talked to the head of security about what went wrong.
The final week of the fair is underway, and most visitors say they're alert but comfortable concerning safety.
I keep my eyes peeled, head on a swivel. That's how I've always been. So can't control people.
Restricted when we came in, check to make sure nobody had no guns, check your purses, check stuff, so it was pretty safe, make you feel comfortable.
In the background, there's a detailed plan in motion. Head of security Jeff Kottner says a year's worth of planning goes into keeping the fairground safe.
We screen everyone at our gates. Not only do we screen them, we also look in their bags. Then once you get inside the park, oh my goodness, you have retired police officers in safety stands, you have roving patrols with retired police officers, you have roving patrols with uniformed police.
Still, there was a shooting Saturday night in the food court that left 3 people injured and others running for cover. With highly visible and private security measures in place, the question lingers, how did this happen?
We don't know. So there's a lot of things that could have occurred. So we don't know.
Kottner says there's an ongoing review of the shooting, which happened near the same location of another chaotic incident last October.
Is there a particular weakness about this area?
There's not a weakness in security, and that's not a blind spot. We have a camera trained on that area all the time.
22-year-old Cameron Turner was arrested and charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault for Saturday's shooting. In an affidavit obtained by NBC5, Turner told detectives he was attempting to protect his family when he was approached by a group of men. Cotner says they'll continue to ask critical questions to get to the bottom of what happened.
Did we have any gaps in our vulnerability? Was there anything we need to adjust? Do we need to change? And then look at our processes and make sure they're executing them properly.
In Dallas, Candace Sweat, NBC5.
But then the next year, FBG would be responsible for another woman losing her life, and this time a grandmother, and J3 would be the one to be arrested. March 27, 2024, on a quiet street, was considered the suburbs, evidence markers and steel dots on the front of a Cedar Hill home where bullets pierced the front window on a Tuesday morning, claiming the life of 45-year-old Lucretia Thomas. May she rest in peace, and love and condolences to her family. It was rumored that J3 believed an OTS member had lived there, and that's why he allegedly shot it up.
A grandmother of 3 is dead after police say someone opened fire on her house early Tuesday morning.
While police search for those responsible, loved ones are making a heartbreaking plea. Tonight they spoke with Allie Spilliards.
On a quiet street, evidence markers still dot the front of the Cedar Hill home where bullets pierced front windows early Tuesday morning, claiming 45-year-old Lucretia Thomas's life.
Everybody always gravitated to her because she was so fun to be around, and she was the person that kept all of us together.
James Keys grew up alongside Thomas. He says his cousin was both the family's magnet and glue. 2 days after her death,
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
he's struggling to understand why anyone would want her dead.
Like, I need to reach out now and can't.
Cedar Hill police say neighbors heard several gunshots near the home on Bailey Drive around 5:30 a.m. Tuesday, before a car was seen leaving the area. There were several other people in the home at the time, but no one else was injured. Brittany Williams says that included her 1-year-old baby boy.
I didn't meet her till about 2 years ago.
Thomas offered to take in Williams' son after she lost custody.
You know, she loved him like he was her own. She would go out of her way to make sure I got pictures, videos, be involved in all doctor's appointments.
Like Keys.
I think that someone knows something.
Williams is urging those with information to come forward.
You didn't only take somebody that I was still getting to know. You took my son's mom. She was basically his mom.
Hopefully, providing justice for those Thomas leaves behind.
Now I want to shout out Dallas Drill. They was a huge part of me being able to get my homework and make sense of everything to bring it to you guys' attention. If you guys want to know about the drill culture in Dallas, you guys should head over there and do so. But the real reason we talked about all this, fam, is because since the beef was first documented in 2020, now 5 years later, on the first week of April in 2025, J3, while incarcerated for the murder of Miss Thomas, gets a tattoo on his hand, incarcerated, of 223 Trey, late deceased mother, Mika. Trey had responded by posting the date 4/17, which is the same day and month that J3 friend Faats had lost his life, as we just mentioned, back in 2021. Fam, we just discussed one of the deadliest wars in Dallas, Texas history that's going on to this day, even while some of the members are incarcerated. Grandmother's lives stolen, mother's lives stolen, kids as young as 2 lives stolen, and a never-ending cycle when it comes to the disrespect. Fam, this was the story of a Dallas, Texas rapper who recently went viral for getting his opposition mom, who's deceased, tattooed on his hand while incarcerated. Let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and today, I'll catch you guys on the next one.